celebrating our 25th anniversary this year, and we were founded around the coming together of governments to form for the first Earth Summit. EDU was founded to make sure that women and women's rights and women's perspectives were key to the outcomes of that Earth Summit. It was very clear that there needed to be a proactive program that would push for women's leadership in the UN climate negotiations, and specifically women's leadership from the Global South. So women leaders from across Africa, from least developed countries who were experiencing climate impacts, whose countries were the most vulnerable to climate impacts, needed to really be at the front lines of decision-making on climate change. We also recognize that in the negotiations themselves, women as heads of delegations were around 10% in 2009, and on national delegations, there were countries with as low as under 10% representation of women, particularly from least developed countries, that women and men, they're challenged in different ways by climate change impacts. And so if we're going to be coming up with a massive climate agreement, if we're going to be trying to work together to develop climate solutions, we need to make sure that women and men's voices are equally heard. And so in this partnership, the Women Delegates Fund program was born. And the focus of the Women Delegates Fund program was threefold. It was to provide travel support. And in addition to the travel support was capacity building and networking opportunities. We've instituted what's called a Women Delegates Fund Night School that's focused on training on negotiation skills, media skills, on the thematic areas of the negotiations to give an opportunity for capacity building that's not often available at national level and not often available for women.
The fixing of the night school is found very necessary because within the busy schedule, just before the COP starts, the newcomers to this meeting have an opportunity to be taken through the issues of gender and climate change.
If Women Delegate Fund is not available, me, similarly, like me, others delegate from particularly less developed country did not get a chance to attend this negotiation. They did not know how to negotiate, how we incorporate this gender and climate change issue in the national plan and policies.
These training spaces are incredibly valuable to delegates that are new to the process. This world can be incredibly confusing, and the stories we hear of women delegates that may have never attended a training like this before, unless it was free, is things like, I felt empowered, I felt confident to raise my country's flag and give an intervention. I finally felt like I had a real and meaningful voice in this process. Women's equal representation and voice is important because when we're tackling something as huge as climate change, something that affects every individual on our planet, how can we not involve half of the population in these decisions? I think it's really about fundamental human rights, that basically we have a right to be part of these decisions. Whether it's environment or peace and security, women have to be present not just on the table, but in a transformative way.
We still plan, we still do our policies that are gender neutral. And if you do the climate change policies that are neutral, the chances are that you will not be able to reach both men and women to adapt to the situation or to mitigate whatever the situation is.
Women play a very important role in climate change decisions, just like men. Where you have impacts affecting women more, maybe men may not consider that as a priority. So we need women decision makers in these processes to ensure that the voice of women is heard also.
For me, I'm very honored and humbled that we are able to have this fund that can help us be future negotiators and be able to become leaders as well globally. I also believe that this fund will need assistance to help young women who may be interested in becoming negotiators or becoming leaders.
We're very pleased that this program, which started with the support and really the championship of the government of Finland, who wanted to raise the issue of gender and climate change and women's leadership in this process, has now been supported by additional governments, such as the governments of Iceland, the government of the Netherlands, and I think that the Women Delegates Fund program, you can speak to many people about it, has shown very concrete results in terms of enhancing women's political voice and participation. We're at a moment where we need other countries to stand up and to support this program, to invest in increasing women's leadership and women's participation, not just in this space, but also to think about how we could have similar kinds of programs in other policy spaces. We will come up with better policies when people are more equitably represented, because those policies will be more equitable. It's not enough to just hope that we're going to have more women in political spaces. We actually have to invest in the programs that are trying to do so.